Hello guys, logging in on Monday at about 6:15 in the evening and look what I got. Oh, this came a couple of hours ago and I wanted to open it up on camera, so I have been going crazy to open it. We all know what it is, don't we? So let's open it. Okay, there we go. And she packs things very well. Oh, it was a little piece of My Little Pony washi. That's cute. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that, will ya? The third tale. I don't know what it's called. It's in Japanese, but oh, easily look that up on Amazon.com. This is just a thank you for your order. Just let me know if you need anything from Japan. Keep that in mind. So I've ordered several books from her now, and oh, this feels nice. Okay, so this is the Japanese edition. It feels really good. The cover, it has texture to it. That's the dust jacket. Now what I'm really interested in is if the paper is any different. Well, fantasy coloring book of Kokot, a country where there is a beautiful castle towering. So yeah, that's one reason why I really wanted this, is that this is the fantasy edition. Okay, so of course the pages that you get at the back are made of cardstock. What is this? The shop. RG's shop. Well, it looks like you cut the pieces out and then you fold them and you have a little storefront maybe? The table of contents is at the back. That's weird. Okay, so what do we got at the front? Because the books don't go backwards. No, Japanese books, reading books do. Okay, so there's some English words in here. The main characters of Romantic Country, we have Alina and we have Josette. Okay, the names of the places are in English underneath of the Japanese. Crestalos Castle. All the different islands. Oh, and it starts out winter. Oh, look. It has the chapter headings in English too. Oh, that's great. Peaceful Days in the North. So when we start with Christmas? Yeah, we do. Oh, there's the post office. Oh, lots of people have colored that. Oh, the paper is nice. Yeah, this is the one that has the really nice Halloween picture in it too. Oh, okay. This is a little book catalog, but it doesn't appear to be coloring books. Let me get this open. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it doesn't appear to be coloring books on there. Too bad. I would have liked to have had a coloring book catalog to peruse. Keep this in here. Oh yeah, the pictures in here are really quite detailed. More so than the others, I'd say. Oh, there's that page. I've seen that one colored a lot too. Okay. So I'm looking for the Halloween picture. Is it near the back? Oh, here we go. This is it. This is it. Is that a 2-page spread? No, it's not. That's the picture right there. I've seen that colored a lot. And that's cute. Okay, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm just going to go grab one of the English editions. Where are they? There we go. I have my dust jackets off of them because I don't like them on when I'm coloring. So are they the same size? Yes, exactly. Okay, let's feel this paper here. Of course, this isn't the same book. Oh yeah, the paper's thicker, and it's white. It's not cream. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh wow. Okay. This is my book. I shouldn't be excited about the pictures. Yeah. So that's the difference in the different editions. Paper is white in here, and it is thicker. All right. Well, I'm all excited, and we finally have it, guys. So I'll be doing some coloring out of that this month, I am sure. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so I just wanted to check in and let you see me open that, and yeah, that's it for this login. So logging off, and I will talk to you again. Hello. Logging in here on Thursday, and it is about 4:30 p.m. I decided that I needed to log on because I haven't in the last couple of days. Wait just a minute, I'm trying to get comfortable in my chair. I'm using a different chair right now because mine finally bit the dust, which is not a bad thing because I hated it, and it was just getting more and more broken, and it just wasn't comfortable. So this setup isn't exactly comfortable, but it's kind of wiggling around here. Now I'm too far away from the desk. I'm going to be too tired to talk after this. Alright, well, let's come closer. There we go. Whew. Alright, so as you can see, I am working on this. This is a Color Questopia book, and it is the creative movie posters. So all I have left to do is number 16 down here. Just going to sharpen my pencil. And yes, I did say pencil. I have come up with a way to do these Color Questopias that I'm actually finally pleased with. It's like I have done these so many ways, and I just always think that there's just something that's not right. And so I'll just show you what I do, because this is almost done. So the first thing I do is I go in and I do the main characters. Like, obviously that's here. Let's see if there's one that's not people. Well, I guess they probably all will be people. Is there more of a scene? Yeah, this one is. This one's got foliage. Trees down here, and then, I don't know, 13 and 12. Oh yeah, okay, so more trees up here, and the person. So I would do the whole thing, and the words, in permanent markers. So these are pretty small squares, so I've been using the ultrafines for this one. Sometimes the spaces are bigger and you can use the fines. And now then, after that, that's where it changes. I do the background, whatever colors it is. Let's find that poster that I was just showing you. So in this one, the background would only be here. It's not much of it. There's a lot of trees there. And I don't know, you know, I would have to think about this. Are the trees part of the background, or are they part of the main focus images? And now that I'm thinking about it, those trees would be in the background. So I would only do him and the words in marker. Then I would switch to pencil, because I do the background. Yeah, so I would do the trees. Trees are the background. Here there's nothing in the background. So I'm doing the background with pencils. Now what I've found, and I hope you can see how that works here, is that if I do the backgrounds in pencil, obviously they're not going to be as pencils, doesn't matter what pencil you use, it's not going to be as bright and vivid as the marker. So it kind of pushes the background into the background and pops up the main images. Then what I do is I use a fine, not ultra fine, a fine Sharpie. And I've been using Sharpies specifically because they have a nice point on them and they do what I want to do better than, say, a Bic, which is a little bit rounded on the end. And what's the other kind I have? Actually, I have all sorts of different blacks. I keep all my blacks together. But yeah, so I've specifically been using a Sharpie for this. Everything else, use whatever you have, doesn't matter. And then I go around the outline of the main images, and it just really makes the picture pop in a way that, and it makes me happy in a way that the other ones didn't. I just did not like doing the lines like that. I really didn't like using it I didn't like using silver, because I honestly cannot see what I'm doing, and it is just so boring to use that color. So then I used black, and I was happier, but black doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't work for the ones when they get really tiny, really small and close together. like they would be on this, because, you know, of their clothing. So I don't think I would be happy with this one in black. I'm happy with a lot of them if I do all the lines in black. Then they look like stained glass. So I have done a few that way, and I might interchange between ways before I'm finally set on a way, but I think this will probably it. I've ordered some silver fine Sharpies, and I'm going to try doing an outline of all the lines with that and see what I think of that way. But I can't see myself stopping this way because I really like it. So I only have one color left to do, and that's the bottom section, and I'm using pencil, and today I'm using my Irojitins, and I am using number D. These are hard to read because they're silver. Number D10. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong side, and I wonder. Oh, it is. Number D10, and the color is taupe. Now, isn't taupe supposed to be a light brown? This is the dark gray in the set. It actually looks like I'm coloring this with pencil, like a normal school pencil. Yeah, if the lighting is a little dark in here, it's because, can you see what I'm doing? It's because I'm using natural light. I do have my 2 lights on here, and they're just not bright enough. It's really hard to get bright bulbs around here that don't cost $40. All these new stupid light bulbs. So today is Thursday, and I went to a pain clinic today, and that went good. I've had, I was going to say I've had a good 2 weeks, but this week I did have a couple of bad days, and that's why there's a chunk missing between. I think I logged in right away on Monday, and then I haven't logged on here again until today. There's nothing that I missed. It's just been normal life, just coloring and watching my shows and not doing anything or going anywhere. So I got my, okay, lighten up, lighten up. Whenever I'm using pencils, I always end up with the death grip on them, and then I'm like, ease up. Why are you pushing so hard? I don't push hard with my color, but I'm pushing with my hands, like gripping the pencil, like I'm hanging on to it for my life. And I can color with like hardly holding it at all, so I don't know why I automatically just want to do a death grip. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of us heavy-handeders out there, but I'm really trying to train myself to not do that. So as I color, I keep a nice point on my pencils so that I can not go into those white lines as much as possible. So I was basically in there for 5 minutes. We were a couple minutes late getting there because, well, I'll talk about that later. So we were just a few minutes late, and I walk in, and I'm, about halfway to the desk, and they have the place all set up, like with chairs in front of all the desks, and tape on the floor, and all sorts of things. It's the only one of my doctors which is open. Our main general, GP offices is closed and will be until further notice. We're only doing tele. calls, or whatever they want to call it. So I get halfway to the desk, and the receptionist there goes, "Hi, Nikki." She goes, "Any cold or cough?" And then I go, No, nothing. I haven't been anywhere. Perfectly fine." And she goes, "Okay, well, just head on into room number 2. So I did, and it had to have been less than 5 minutes. And the doctor and his don't know what she is, assistant, I guess, because she's not a nurse. Or is she? Yes, I think she is a nurse, that lady. They come in. Oh, I do have a lady who comes in first, and she takes my blood pressure, and she asks me if I'm started any new medicines, and just gets me to say the numbers of pain I've had, overall, what was the worst, what was the least, all that kind of stuff. Just information for the doctor so we can quickly read it when he comes in and know the situation. So then he comes in, I tell him where it's bad, and then so that's where he concentrates. He still gives me needles everywhere, but he will do the extra in those places. And then I was done, and I left. So I couldn't have been in there more than 5 or 6 minutes. And so my husband had to go to work when I was finished, but I was so quick in there that we were way ahead of the time that he'd said he could be there. So of course he didn't want to be early now. We thought we were going to be in a big rush to get back so he could start at work at the agreed upon time. So we stopped at McDonald's and got a McFrappy from there. I really like those. I think they're better than the Tim Hortons ice caps. The ice is more, like my husband said. He said the Timmy's drink has what did he say? Grainy. That's how he described it. It's kind of lumpy with the ice in it. It's not as blended out as the McDonald's one is. And the McDonald's one is just like creamier and honestly has a lot more taste. I used to really like the Timmy's ones, but I don't know. I find them a little bland now. Okay, I don't know why I got onto that topic. So we did that, and we came home. Only problem was I was in extreme pain because, my left shoulder has tendinosis in it, so I get needles in there because it's a lot of pain. My arm gives out on me a lot, and normally I get cortisone shots in that shoulder, but there's no cortisone shots being given until COVID is gone. So, that could be, Lord knows how long that could be. So, I'm really suffering from that. Because it's not when we just, finally open up all the way through stage 3. COVID's still gonna be here. It hasn't gone anywhere. So they have to make sure, because if you get cortisone shots, your I can't even think of the words today. Immune system, it becomes at risk. It basically, like cortisone, will lower your immune system. So unfortunately, I can't get that. Usually I get a shot every 3 months. And so anyways, my other arm is starting to hurt pretty badly, the right one. And I guess it's because the other one is being favored. And, you know, I'm holding myself in different positions because of trying to keep this arm safe and not using it. So this arm is getting used in different ways than it would normally. And now I've got like huge pain in that shoulder, you know, and it's in the muscles, obviously. And so he gave me some shots on that side, and oh my goodness, like my arm hurt so bad because he put the needles right into my extremely sore muscle. Like it went right into where the pain is. And oh, I could feel stuff going numb in there from the needle, but the pain was not gone. Because of the needle, where the needle went in, the needle site, they just burned like the dickens. And going home, it was just excruciating. If I moved a fraction this way or that way, it was like screaming in agony. But obviously I'm sitting here coloring, so I'm not in agony, but it does still hurt. Like it nowhere near as bad, but I think it's gonna have to take until tomorrow for it to settle down, as long as I don't do anything stupid with it. So I came home, relaxed, didn't do much. Usually I fall asleep, but I didn't this time. Could possibly be because of the pain in my arm. But yeah. So anyways, on to other topics. My husband has officially been given a name for this channel. One of the commenters, hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name, Lisa B., she referred to him in a comment as Mr. Niagara. And I don't have a channel name for him. I know a lot of people do have channel names for their husbands, Mr. So-and-so. And I thought that was funny. And well, because in one sense it makes it sound like he won the strongman contest, you know, Mr. Niagara. And, you know, obviously it comes from my channel name. My last name is Nikki in Niagara, so I told him, and he thought it was funny, and so we agreed it would be his official channel name. So now when I talk about him, instead of saying my hubby, or I think that's what I usually say, I'll just say Mr. Niagara. So thanks for that, Lisa. Gotta have a name for your husband. Now, according to my children are not referred to very often, except sometimes I will mention my son who lives at home, but only a little bit, because they don't want to be mentioned on the channel, and you know, I respect their privacy. I'm not going to tell any modern stories about them. May say something about something they did when they were little kids. I think I can get away with, because those are my stories. So on the weekend, so I guess you're going to be listening to this on Monday, and I'm not talking about the weekend that just happened, and the weekend before, when I started filming this just after that weekend. So you can think a couple of weekends ago, but for me it's last weekend. I KonMari'd my closet. I have kind of like a, well, I'm going to say walk-in closet, but it's not what that makes you envision. This is an old house, and it doesn't have closets, But this room has a second room that goes off of it. And then in that room, there's the stairs, the door to the stairs that go up to the attic. And somebody along the way has put a shelf and a bar to make it into a clothing rail, closet, like the railings that are inside of closets. It was done quite a long time ago because the bar that they used is like solid metal and it's like heavy. It's all stuck up there really good. So it was quite some time ago that they did that. My house was built in 1912. So it's a World War I home. But it's had a lot of work done to it. And I say unfortunately because there's nothing of its old self here. But, it's good that all the, electrical and plumbing and, all that kind of stuff was done. But I wish they'd left the hardwood floors and the wooden banisters and all that kind of stuff alone. So anyways, when would it have been now? I guess it would be in 2018. I KonMari'd my whole house. And this was before that little, you remember just a ways back when KonMari like took over and everybody was KonMariing? Well, I did this before that. So when that thing was going on, I was somebody who had already done it. So, once you've KonMari'd your house, for us anyways, it was 2 years later, and I decided that my closet needed KonMariing again. So I went in there and did that on the weekend, and it was quite the chore, or quite the thing, because you do everything all at once. You take everything out, and then you put what you're keeping back. And I'm not going to explain the whole method and everything, but I got rid of about half of my clothing, if not more, because since the decline in my health, which started at the end of 2018 and all the way through 2019, I had like a major decline of everything, just quickly getting worse and worse until I'm at the point that I'm at now, that I've been in for, I don't know. I guess if you like listen to everything on this channel, you would hear me going through all that stuff. But so I'm just guessing that it's been, I'm really terrible with time, so I'm just guessing it's been about 6 months that I have been stable and, at this level. So I'm young for this stuff to have, happened the way it did. Usually, with the degenerative disc disease, that, over time it degenerates, but for me it just like really quickly went from walking with a limp to, having a hard time walking when I'm not in the house. Our house is small, and I can hold on to the walls and get myself around the house. The furniture's all packed closely together, so between hanging onto the furniture and the walls, I'm perfectly able to get from room to room. So back to the closet. Yeah, so, and like, it was kind of the room where I threw everything. It was like, oh, I don't know where to put that. Psh, fling it into the closet. So I had to take, well, it wasn't me, my son helped me, because obviously there was a lot of bending and lifting and all that sort of stuff. So he was a real dear and did all the labor while I did all the all the mental work of what I'm keeping, what is trash, and what is donation worthy. And I got rid of some good stuff, but you know, as I was saying, over this time I've gained a lot of weight, so pretty much good majority of clothing in my closet doesn't fit me anymore, and I don't see myself quickly losing weight, so I just got rid of all that stuff. There's no point in keeping it, because if I ever do lose weight, then it would be nice to go out and buy some new clothes, because I know what that's like, because I told you before that I lost 150 pounds at one point. But yeah, it wasn't really a successful operation. And they won't do anything to fix me. I mean, basically all I need is for them to go in there and put some more stitches or staples or whatever the heck it is they put in there to put my stomach back to the size that it's supposed to be, because it just didn't stay there. It didn't stay the way it was after I'd lost the weight. Well, it wasn't due to anything I was doing. It just came right back on. The operation really didn't work. So, yeah. So anyways, nobody will do anything for me because you have to pay for it. Once they do you, they just they don't care what happens to you afterwards. I remained a patient for 2 years, and then they let me go. And that's at the point where, like, it takes about 18 months for your for the chemicals that make you hungry to come back into your body. And so at that point I started eating more normally, and my stomach just couldn't take it. It just went back to its normal size. And yeah, so I gained weight again. Because, you know, I mean, there's nothing I can do now because I can't walk. So, I mean, that's what I did for my exercise, walking and swimming. Well, not swimming, but marching in the water, because I can't swim. I have this thing about getting my face wet. It's just I don't know, phobia, I guess you call it. And I can't even like sit down and do those arm exercises and stuff because of my shoulders. My shoulders don't go up that high, and then it hurts when I move them too much. But never mind all the gloomy stuff. The closet looks nice, and all the clothes have been tidied up and everything. So I'm finished doing the coloring. So what comes next is the black Sharpie. But first thing I do is I go around the edges to give it a frame. So it covers up any little places where I went out of the lines too. And then I turn it around so that I'm always holding it this way, because I'm right-handed. Sorry if I go out of screen, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm just keeping my eyes on what I'm doing here. Okay, there. So it has its border around it, and it looks neat and tidy and everything inside its frame. And now I'm going to do a, oh, I got a little fly or something there. So now I'm going to go around the edges, and I'll probably go in a little bit to do things too. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I use a fine liner because it's just a little bit bigger than the lines on here, and it fills in the space. I don't have to like actually use coloring motions. Okay, so I think I'm going to go in there and up. I just won't go into it too much until, am I on screen? Yeah. See, I went up there. Not sure if I'll go in and define his clothing, because that's not really the aim. The aim is to outline him. I haven't actually done this with people before. It's always been an animal or a building. Okay, so the background is showing through here, so I do it. And then I guess I better do this piece to match along. So this is quite a bit harder doing a, and I'm turning the book so that I'm always going in the right direction so that I can keep my lines straight and steady. So really don't want to make a mistake with a black Sharpie. So sorry about all that. Oh, I got an itch on my nose. So what color alongs are you participating in this month? I have been looking forward to participating in Christmas in July. I've been thinking about it for a couple of months. And now that we're here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to participate or not. Because I've got stuff I want to do. Other stuff. And unfortunately, it doesn't tie in with Christmas. So, I'm gonna try. Like, I want to color in my Eerie books. I'm just like so totally addicted to her. So like, as soon as I feel up to coloring a, you know, a proper, well, I don't want to say a proper picture, but I mean, this is proper. But, you know, when I feel like spending more time and putting the effort of that it's going to take to color an Eerie picture, I'm going to color something in Romantic Country 3 because I have colored one page in every single Eerie book that I own. Okay, so we'll just outline him and then come back and do her. Alright, getting a little bit unsteady there. So, that's really the only one that I want to participate in this month. Other things that I want to do is color a good amount of Chibi Girls. I'd hope for 3 or 4, but you know, I'm not on any schedule or pushing myself too hard on that, but I am trying to make an effort. So if anybody out there wants to buddy color a picture out of the Chibi Girls grayscale, send me an email or contact me on Instagram and we'll set that up. It just gives me a little bit of an incentive to do a picture. So I'm going to have to come back and do some perks in there because it looks a little silly with their ears done and not connecting them to their head. Okay, these bulb guys are a little difficult to do. You know, I only watched The Matrix, like, I never saw it when it came out. Oh, yes I did. I watched the first one, but I never paid any attention to any of the other ones because when I watched the first one, I was totally confused by it. Didn't understand it at all. But anyways, some years back now, but not that long ago, I was trying to watch some movies that were like ones that everybody had seen and that are referred to often, and The Matrix gets referred to often in conversation and, you know, political speeches or whatever, you know. It could always turn up because of the slow motion action scenes that they did and that weird people being sideways kind of thing. So I decided I would watch all 3 of the movies in a row. And I loved it. I loved the first one with a passion. I had to go on and watch the others. And they were good. They weren't as good as the first one, but it's hard to remember now. I have a really hard time remembering movies and books and all that kind of thing. It's like they're in my head while I'm reading them, but when they're done, I move on to something else and they're gone out of my memory. Now, actually, it looks good. I don't need to go in and do any outlining of stuff. It's too bad I did that, but I don't think it shows up too bad. Now, doesn't that look nice, don't you think? I do. So now I've got to go around these letters. It's too bad they were done in blue, but then this is going to make them more sharp. If they'd been done in a light color, they would stand out a lot. So I've been having a fun time, not really watching my shows at the moment because of YouTube. I am like addicted to watching everybody's finishes and the hauls. I just absolutely love watching both of those. Well, I love watching hauls because I just open up Amazon and I start adding stuff to my wish list. And if you've seen my wish list, it's like ginormous. I actually just separated it so that I have 2 wish lists now. One is coloring books and one is supplies, like tools and supplies. That's where the markers and crayons, pencil crayons, and all the other stuff goes. And it's much more manageable. So my eldest son, he told me, I don't like going on your wish list. It crashes my phone. So then I knew it was too long because I was getting a little irritated looking at it because it would take me forever to like move down to the lower stuff. I hate it when websites do that, and like Amazon doesn't do it often. They do it with their wish list where they load in some and then when you get down to there it loads in the next bit, and then when you get down it loads in the next bit. I hate that. I would rather just like have, you know, 25 items listed and then page numbers at the bottom. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Oh yeah, I was talking about how much fun I was having watching the finished pages. I just love that because that also inspires me to, you know, to get or to want the books that they've done their pictures in. because, you know, I may have already known about the book and, you know, just it's, you know, haven't wanted it or anything. But then when I start seeing people's finishes out of them, you know, it can inspire me. Or if I already have the book, it definitely inspires me that way. So, there we go. That is finished, and I think that that looks way better than what I was doing. Your opinion may vary, but yeah, I'm pleased with that. So I think that what I'm going to do is, oh no, there's one thing I have to tell you. Oh my goodness, I was just going to close then, but I have to tell you this. You know how I've been complaining about my sharpener being lost? Yeah, I know you know what's going to happen. So I ordered a new one, and yesterday I got the email that it had shipped, and it's coming from a different country. Not sure where that pencil sharpener comes from. But anyways, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get here, and so I got that. It was fine. I was glad it was on its way. And then that day, I opened up my sock drawer, was moving things around, and there was my lost sharpener. I must have had the drawer open, and the sharpener would have been on my bedside table, and it got knocked in there and fell to the bottom of the drawer under the socks. I don't know. But yeah, so I found it. So I guess, you know, I mean, I was saying to my husband, I was saying to Mr. Niagara and Anne, if you ever hear this, don't you dare refer to him as Mr. Viagra. Oh, God. Anne always wants to call me Nikki and Viagra. And then I said to her, I said, Viagra Falls, the honeymoon capital of the world. Oh dear, that makes me laugh. So yeah, this is my sharpener right here. I'll hold it up for the camera so you can see it on this side. And then on the sides, it's like that. And it's very important that it look like this. It's a complete rectangle. It's not slanted or curved or anything like that. Oh, I guess it is, because it goes in on the sides so that you can hold it. And it's got little grooves in there so your fingers don't slip. And it's called a comb long point. And it's a single hole, and you have to be careful to get, I'm just telling you this in case you're interested in trying out my famous pencil sharpener that I absolutely must have. You don't want to get the slanted one, you don't want to get ones that are curved, you do not want to get the long point with two holes. Well, maybe you do, but it works completely differently because I have it. And I can tell you the difference between them if anybody wants me to. But yes, it must be exactly like this in shape. And it's just called like something steel alloy comb long point single hole, I think is its official name. And yes, I treasure it. And I've been sitting here sharpening my, well, what was I coloring with the other day? Oh, I was coloring with Brute Fooners the other day, and I was sharpening them with this. I was coloring with my Color Softs, and I was sharpening on this, and now I'm using my Tombows. I was using my Tombows to color this, and I was using this to sharpen them. And that works perfectly for all of them. And the thing is this is what your shavings should look like if you're using a good sharpener for your, pencils. You should get these long curlicue shavings. If you're getting the little itty bits, you know, like it's just like all all little bitty bits of shavings, you're not, the pencil sharpener that you're using is not right for the pencil that you're using. So I always get these. I don't know if I have any black ones in here. Oh, I was using the Black Widow ones the other day. But no, I emptied this. I emptied this by then. So, okay, of course my fingers are all covered now because there was lead in there. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm gonna log off now. I will be back again because I don't think I've been too long this week, so I'll come back again. I'm going to color another one of these because I'm really into the mood, but I'm going to do a different book because I'm working on having done at least one in all of these Color Questopia since I have so much. So the next one up, ooh, Star Wars is next. That one's going to be fun. The only thing I'm dreading in this magazine is doing Titanic. I don't even know if I'm going to do it. I might just use a Sharpie and X-Acto it out. Use a Sharpie. Using a X-Acto knife and X-Actoing it out of the book because that is my opinion of the movie Titanic and Leonardo DiCaprio all together. So my next book I'm going to do is the Lighthouse one. I absolutely love lighthouses. One of my favorite things to do is when I'm anywhere where they have a lighthouse you can go into, is to go into it. I just love them. When I was a kid, I used to imagine being the lighthouse keeper's daughter and that we lived in the lighthouse, and that, you know, I spent my days going out and adventuring around the wilderness and having special places to go outdoors where I would just sit and read and yeah. So I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you again. Logging in on Friday, and I honestly have no idea what time it is. I think it's just, oh wait a minute, I can see from here it is 4:16 in the afternoon. So I'm starting a new picture. I am working out of 50 Summertime Mandalas by Camellia Angelkova. I have 4 books with summer in the title, and I'm going to be rotating through those during the summer months. So today I worked on this. Wasn't really in love with the picture for a start, so it probably comes out in the finished. And I had forgotten to put a water down with the previous page for a few marks, so there's some spots on it. So this was just kind of a give me my hands something to do. So I finished that today. And I'm going to start work on this one, and might as well use the 66 Smart Color Arts. They're over here on my desk, handy for me. So I think I can keep them on their side. Well, not if I put them there, I can't. Yeah, let's put them over here. So I did not think I was going to get on here today. I was really hit bad with some pain in my legs. I basically could just lay there in bed and look miserable. Oh dear. The doctor said that I should get some of those, you know what, I should be using the chisel tip on this. Said I should get some of those, well, sock things, like tensor sock things to put on, you know, things that diabetic people have to wear, because that would help keep the swelling down. And I haven't gotten any yet, but I think after today it's gonna be a priority when we go out, because yeah, it's hubby said that when he came in to look at me that I looked pretty pathetic. I felt pathetic, I would tell you. But managed, the pain has gone down, and managed to get out to do this. Can't make this one too long, so I have to keep my eye on it, because I have no idea how much I've done for this week. But I know that if I go over, it's going to end up being a long one. So if this does end up going over 2 hours, I'm sorry guys. It's just not a precision thing, this getting the time right. I just have to try my best and hope that you'll watch. You know, if it's too long and you don't feel like watching anymore, a great thing that you could do that would help me would be to leave the video on and let it play while you go and do whatever it is you're doing. Then I get full marks for you staying to the end. So only if you feel comfortable doing that. So last night I finally got around to, I'm not even looking at what colors these are. I finally got around to, oh, this is gonna be long if I can't string my words together. Finally got around to swatching out the Crayola. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a, oh, it is too. I didn't even realize that it was going around in a swirl. I thought it was all colored in. Oh, it is, because this one goes here. Okay. I'm going to pay attention a little bit better. Yes, okay, it does work the way I thought it did. So I finally got around to swatching the Crayola pencils, and I have to tell you, I've never had Crayola pencils in my entire life. They didn't have them when I was a kid, and my kids never had them. Like, you know, at a young age, they're not appropriate for their hands and motor skills aren't developed enough. And when they went to school, I always got them Prisma Scholars, because those are just popular around here. In Canada, it's kind of like the childhood pencil. I had some when I was a teenager. The colored pencil of choice back then, though, were Laurentians. And man, did I love my Laurentians. I think they came in a 100 pack, and it was a great big long envelope plastic envelope that they came in, and I always had to have the big set. I just loved those things. My sister's been picking them up from thrift stores, you know, when they have those baggies of things. Well, you can get baggies of pencil crayons and markers and all that kind of stuff, and she's been picking them up and collecting herself a set of Laurentians, and she sent me some of her duplicate or triplicate or whatever ones, so I have a handful of them. I definitely need to try them one of these days here. Okay. And, well, anyways, back to the Crayolas. I didn't find them as bad as I thought I was going to. I can understand why people use them and say that they're not that bad. I found that they all swatched nicely. I would like go across one way and come back the other way, so I guess you could call it 2 layers. And it wasn't pushing hard at all, because I don't like my swatches to be showing the darkest color it'll go. I kind of like to do them with a medium hand so that they kind of show the middle, you know, the what they look like with medium pressure. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. So I'll be trying them out one of these days on a small picture. I don't want to commit to them for a large picture, but maybe I'll find a little thing in Rita Berman to use with them. So I thought while I did this today, I would answer a question. Someone a couple of vlogs ago. Excuse me while I take a sip of my Coke Zero. If I can't get Diet Dr. Pepper, which apparently is having a worldwide shortage or something, because you cannot get it here anywhere, I resort to drinking Coke Zero. It's my favorite of the Cokes. I'll drink Pepsi Zero too. But yes, it was when I had mentioned that I homeschooled my children, and somebody said that they were interested in knowing what my childhood education was. Was I homeschooled myself? And I can understand that question, because homeschooling has been, well, it's always been around. Everybody was homeschooled before they had public schooling. Well, the people who are wealthy enough to not have to send their children to work. But it's been mainstream for long enough now that we have second generation homeschoolers homeschooling their kids, and I think we're even at the point now where we're having third generation homeschooled people homeschooling their own kids. So the answer to whether I was homeschooled is yes and no. And so there's a bit of a story to my education that, well, not exciting or anything like that, but should provide some interesting conversation. So when I was a kid going to school, the only people who homeschooled their children were hippies who lived on communes. So no, I wasn't homeschooled as a kid. My parents would never have even dreamt of doing such a bohemian activity. So we're talking about the early 70s here, when I first started school. And I was a good student. I did well at school, and my problem in elementary school was that I was shy and I didn't participate in anything. And that basically is the story of my life. But what is this? Yeah, okay, it's vermilion. You know, I really like how these feel. This is the first set of markers I've had that have a triangular barrel, and I just love it. I love the feel of these. I like the feel of these better than, like, definitely better than the Shuttle Arts, because they're square ones, and much better than the Ohuhu shape. So, yeah, I did okay through school. I had problems because of kids. We called it teasing back then, that somebody was teasing you, or you would complain that somebody was teasing you. Nowadays it would be called bullying. And so, you know, I was bullied a lot because I was different, quiet and shy, and it turns out in my adult life I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a form of autism. And that was probably the weird thing that the kids noticed in me and set upon. And then came grade 7, and that's really when all the horrible stuff of my education happened, because I was, I want to use a different color altogether. Pink. That pink is red. What do I have for pinks? Purple, purple. Okay, here. Do I only have one pink? There's only one bright pink, and there's quite a few light pinks. Remember, this is only a 66 set. So I did not enjoy school after this point. I did everything. I pretended I was sick so I could stay home, and made up all sorts of elaborate stories and just to get out of it, and public speaking just became the end of me. I started to retaliate, well, not retaliate, but I started to rebel, and I wasn't quite so shy anymore. By the time I was in grade 9, I was telling I would go up to the teachers when we had an oral assignment, and I would say, can I write an essay instead? And some teachers were nice about it and said, okay, sure, if you want to do all that work, then go ahead and do it. And then, of course, there were the jerks who said no. And so I would say, well, just give me a D then, and I'll be on my way. And they didn't like that very much and tried to get me to do the assignment, but I refused, and I said, just give me whatever mark you want. I don't care, I'm not doing it. And yeah, so that's the way I was by grade 9. So things were not well for me at school. My marks had dropped to like just barely passing, and I was a bright child. I was in elementary school I was a straight A student, and that's one of the reasons why I was teased as well. I can't stop calling it teased, because we never ever used the word bully. I don't know. There were bullies, but they were, I don't know, it was like a different breed than, now they call, things that, I don't know, it's hard to explain unless you lived as a child in the 70s and the very early, well, no, in the 70s. Well, I guess in the early 80s too, because that's when I would be in high school. So, yeah, grade 10 came around, and in the second month of school, our teachers went on strike. And so students had a few options. There was a lot of kids from the school, including my friend at the time. They went off to different school districts where they had relatives living, and they stayed with relatives and went to school in their districts. And then there were kids who were basically just going to sit around and enjoy themselves, not worry about school. And then there was a group of us, or not a group, but then there were some of us who chose to go it was called the Independent Home Study. And that's the route that I went. You could call it a correspondence school because you did correspond with your teacher, but this was like a separate school board. It wasn't like, it didn't go back to my school district. It was, my record became part of this school, and I had no daily interaction with my teacher, I was given packets, learning packets, and I worked on them. When I finished a unit, I mailed it in to the teacher that had been assigned me. They marked it and, left notes and, communicated with me on what I had done. And then I would receive the work back with all their marking and their comments and such on it. And then that repeated until I'd finished all the material, and then there was a test, an exam. And to sit the exam, I would be given a local teacher's name, like a local teacher who was teaching through the independent home study. And I was given their name, and I was to contact them. And I would do that, and then we would set a date, and I would come sit in their house in a quiet room where the teacher was present, sat in the room with me while I wrote the exam, and when I was finished, I handed it in to him, and that was it. So I started doing that in grade 10, and well, I just turned into a different person. I thrived. My marks went back up. I just loved the material I was studying because there was so much more available through this program, which was available province-wide than there had been available in my small town, tiny school. So the teachers eventually went back to work. It had been a lot of months. Most of the school year had gone by, and and so a lot of students who had gone away for their schooling, they remained where they were until the end of the school year, because it was silly for them to make another change in the year and come back. So my friend didn't come back until the start of the summer holidays. And then at this point, my parents were all prepared for me to go back to school the next year. And I said no. I said, I don't want to. I want to keep doing this. I said, I like doing it, and, I don't remember what our conversation was exactly, but I do know that I had pleaded with them to let me continue to do that, and they knew how happy I had become doing it, so they, warned me, of course, how I had to, pay attention to my studies and not goof off and, and that kind of stuff. But I hadn't. I'd proven that I hadn't already from the almost a year, school year, that I had done it. And, so I learned a lot of things about the benefits of not being in a classroom, of not being age segregated, and I did well. I finished up with my diploma, and I didn't go to graduation. They had a graduation service for everyone who was graduating that year at the Independent Home Study Center, but I didn't want to go to it. I had no interest in that sort of thing. I was always a child who was older than my peers, not age-wise, but mentally, I guess I had always been an old soul in a young body. So I learned a lot about that, and then in my years before I had children, and when I did have a child, I had learned about homeschooling, and it was something that I really, really believed in and that I wanted for my children. And I became pregnant, and it was something my mother and I discussed a lot. And you know, she was right on for it and everything too. Well, after my son was born, when he was 3, my mother died of bowel cancer in 1993. And a couple of years went by, and my kid was ready to go to school, and I wanted to homeschool, and everything was okay with my then. Oh, no, actually he went to school for kindergarten, and then that was when I broke up with my then husband. And so he went to school he didn't go to kindergarten because kindergarten was optional in Alberta at that time. And it's not like here. Here they have like junior preschool. Basically, the government has the kids from birth practically here. But yeah, so he didn't go to kindergarten because, you know, I wasn't going to send my kid to school if he didn't have to. So he did end up having to go to school for grade 1 because I was a single mom. But it wasn't too long after that I met my now husband, and we had a whirlwind of a romance, and we're a committed couple, and didn't take didn't take too long until we were a committed couple. And he knew how much I wanted to homeschool my eldest, and I had been told that I needed to stop working because I was working as a maid in a hotel, and the activity was injuring my back, and this is the beginning of all my back problems. I was what, 27, and that was the beginning of my back journey. It has always hurt me since then, and so I did quit my job, and my husband said, you know, now that you're home, why don't you, well, he wasn't my husband at the time, but he said, you know, why don't you homeschool Andrew? That's my eldest. And so we brought him home from school. He was a little bit sad, you know, because it's different, you know. Of course he's going to be. He's not going to, like, unless he had absolutely hated school, he wasn't going to jump up and down and say, yeah. You know, it was all new and different to him. So he was a little bit sad, but it didn't last long. He got into it, and he became a good student, and we had a good homeschooling experience. And it was only a couple of years ago. He's 31 now. And a couple of years ago, he came to me and he said that he wanted to tell me, or he wanted to thank me for homeschooling him. That he realizes now what it had given him, and well, anyways, you know, he had a conversation with me, and it was really nice to hear him say that. So that's the story of my elementary education, and how I I always say I homeschooled myself, because in reality I did. My parents didn't do anything. They just left me to it. Saw my marks as I was, they always inspected my papers when they came back corrected, and, you know, saw that how much I was achieving, and they were proud of me, what I was doing in the different subjects and stuff. So yeah, that's, you know, I basically homeschooled myself for high school, and I graduated with, back then Ontario had 13 grades. We went up to grade 13, and kind of in a way they still have grade 13. They abolished it quite a number of years ago, but they have a grade 12B now. Kids can stay an extra year if they want to, and lots do. So, yeah, so you can say they got rid of it, but, you know, the 5th year still does exist. So anyways, I graduated high school with a grade 13 diploma. And that, yeah, so that ends, that ends it and makes it my story. So, I hope that answered your question to the person who had asked me about that. And I'm going to close now because we've been half an hour and I don't know how much time I really have left on here. So thank you for joining me. I want to let you know that I'm very thankful to you for allowing me to spend time with you, and for being here. I'm just very, very, very thankful that I can find a place here to talk with you guys, and that you can talk with me, and it's worked out. It's worked out nicely. So I just want to leave you guys with, if there's anything you want to leave comments for, things that you would like to see me do on the channel, questions you have, that I can either answer you personally, or comment or make as a discussion topic on the channel. Those questions are more than welcome. You can also directly ask me a question that, or give me a topic that you would like me to talk about. I won't talk about politics or religion, so don't ask me about those. Anything else, as long as it's not getting into my very private life, is welcome. So, I mean, I'd really love it if you threw those things at me, because, you know, it's hard sitting here knowing what you want, you know, and trying guessing what you will enjoy, and that sort of thing. So this is the part where I ramble. The end of every video is me rambling. So once I notice that I'm rambling, I know it's time to say goodbye. And at this point, I am going to say goodbye, and like you to take care, stay healthy, keep coloring, and until next week, bye-bye.